Hello, Business 270 online students. This is Professor Hassey, and this is our week 3 weekend update for business statistics. I have posted the grades for the case study in your Blackboard, and the class did very well. You'll see if you go to the report card section in your Blackboard, you'll see your cumulative grade in the course thus far. And if you want to get the specifics and see the download of my responses to you, you can go into your grade center and see that file and download it. If you got 100 on the case study, then I did not repost your file because you did everything exactly right. So you won't see that. But if you did get less than 100, I sent the file back to you for review. So please note that. We now have 15% of our grade calculated in this class, so please note that. And also this weekend, due on Monday, September 12th, and there are extensions available if you'd like an extension, is our examination number, midterm examination. And again, post your examination to this file folder in Blackboard by Monday at midnight. And again, if you need some extra time, just send me an email. That is not a problem because we are doing a lot of work in this class, a lot of assignments. So please, if you need extra time, go ahead. But please take your time on this because this grade on the midterm, these 3 questions represent 20% of your course grade. So take your time, review your textbook, review the notes, and you should be in good shape. So again, let's take a look at the case that I posted back this weekend. The solutions are posted into the case study file folder. If you'd like to see the solutions, just download that file, and that's the solutions. Also, let's take a look at those solutions now just to go over how I graded it and what I was looking for. Okay, this first case study is basically asking the question, what is statistics? Defining some key basic interpretations of statistics. And one of those questions, question number 1, I ask you to find a news source or some internet site where you've gotten information and data, and tell me whether it was qualitative or quantitative. A brief analysis telling me the variables that you look at in this information. Describe them in terms of discrete or continuous, and what was the measurement level. Pretty short and sweet. And that's what I was looking for. So if you clicked off all those basics, qualitative, quantitative, discrete or continuous, measurement level, and told me where the information came from and noted that as a reference, then you got 30 points for that problem. If you were missing a couple of variables, or if you didn't tell me your references, then I took some points off. But everybody did very good on that question. The second question was to find the mean, median, and what type of population this was for the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Pretty basic, but it goes over the basic materials of what we need to understand after the first couple weeks of our course. So the mean is taking the number of senior partners and who they saw in those weeks, 6, 4, 3, 7, and 5 clients, and add those all up and divide by 5, and you'll get a mean of 5. So 6 plus 4 is 10, 13, 20, 25, divide by 5, you get 5. That's the mean. The median is the midpoint between these 4 numbers. If you arrange them in order, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 5 is exactly in the median, the midpoint. There's 2 numbers above and 2 numbers below, and there you go. So they're pretty easy on that one. The mean, is the mean a sample or a population? This is a population. Population is for this specific group. You don't have any other sample of. They're not telling you a sample of any of all the partners or what. They tell you this is the senior partner, so it's a population. So if you missed that, if you had sample, you probably got about 5 points off for that. Question 3 was taking the number of students at Wall College of Business and determining what is the probability that the management is the major of those listings of students. So you total up all the students, and there's 34 students, and you find that management, 6 of the 34 students are the management major? Well, simply the probability is 17.6%. 6 out of 30, excuse me, 6 out of 34. If you round, 18% was okay, but in the future, always give it to a decimal point, at least one decimal point, please. But again, so there's roughly a 17.6% chance that of the students at the Wall College of Business are a management major. And that's what I was looking for. Which concept or of probability did you use to make this estimate? The answer, the correct exact answer is empirical. Now, some of you gave, thinking about some of the answers, some of you said classical, which was okay, but not exactly right. Empirical was the correct answer. And if you didn't get that, you probably got 2 or 3 points off, but empirical was the correct answer. And that was the case. It was just going over some of the basics of probability, what it is, how do you calculate it, averaging, and the definition of what type of statistics is, what kind of information you use. So again, everybody did a good job. Well done as we move forward. Now, a couple of things to note. Always make sure when you post your work, go back through the case or the midterm or the assignment or the final and make sure you answered all the questions. I had a couple of students send in their work and they only answered one question. They didn't see the page 2 with the second and third questions of the case study work. And so they got naturally affected by their grade. So make sure when you post your work, you include and make sure you go back through and answer all the questions that I ask. Secondly, some of you also did, and this was not a problem, but some of you also put your work in page format from Apple or words or numbers format from Apple. Not a problem with that. What I do is I download it to my computer and then change it over to so I can review it. In the future, though, it makes it a little easier for me, and I'm not saying this just to make my job easier, but yeah, I guess I am. If you could convert your page or Apple work numbers file and convert it to Excel or Word doc or PDF, it just makes it a little bit easier for me because the majority of the students, I'd say 85%, do it in Excel, Word, PDF format. And so when I do have students giving other formats besides that, it slows down the process of doing the grading. Now, again, you're probably saying, I don't care, Mr. Hasse, I'm just going to give it to you that. And that's fine. It has no effect on your grade. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to get the grading done quicker and get back to you as soon as possible. So just think about that in the future. Remember, as students at the University of La Verne, you get free access to Microsoft Office. And you can download Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all that sort of thing to your computer for free. If you need any help with that, or if you want to know how to do that, just let me know. But you can go into your banner or into your La Verne website, and you can download as a student Microsoft Office. So just a word to wise if you want to know about that. So that was the first case. And again, as I said, everybody did very well. And here's the midterm, which you're working with now. And again, it's somewhat the same as the case, but going over a little bit more details of the definitions of the first few weeks of the class. Remember, this midterm is covering chapters 1 through 5. I say 1 through 6, but I did not ask any questions on chapter 6. And the first question is what is called objective questions, and it asks you to tell me what these definitions are of, and you fill in the blank. What all these 5 represent as far as a statistic definition. The second question is a calculation, going back to determine the mean, the median, and in this case, an additional 40 percentile. What is the 40? In other words, what is 40% of this series of numbers at what level? Looking for that. Again, pretty easy, but again, the basics of statistics these first few weeks. And then finally, again, a probability calculation, but adding another level to it. What is the probability of a tip of $200 or more? That's pretty well easy, can be calculated even, and use your example in case number 1 or case study as help on that. But secondly, then it asks you to giving a little bit different. Are the categories 0 to 20 and 20 to 50, are those mutually exclusive? So go to your textbook, see what the definition of mutually exclusive is to answer that question. And then the last two are additional probability questions about taking a specific area of these tips and what percent is that as a probability. So again, just a little bit more detail, a little bit more definitions, but basically the same as the case study, again, just a little bit more involved. So please take your time on that, finish it up, and post it by Monday evening, and then we'll be in good shape with that. Okay, what I wanted to talk to you next, and again, also I'll go over this when I post our week 4 video on Monday evening, is that now we're getting into a series of our class the next 3 weeks, week 4, 5, and 6. You'll be doing a series of papers, not case studies, not calculating numbers, but a series of papers. Now the papers are 2 to 3 to 4 pages. You don't have to worry about any format. You don't have to worry about a title page or a table of contents. I just want you to answer the questions as they're given to you. And what are the questions? Well, I give you some data that has already been calculated by me, and I want you to interpret what that data tells you. So in the first paper, which I'll post Monday evening, is about chapter 6 and chapter 8, more about the central limit theorem, and that's in regards to sampling, taking tests and examples of a sample of individuals. And so what the paper is giving you results of a sample, and what does it tell you? So the following series, or the following 3 weeks, are a series of papers where I give you the data that's been calculated, and you, by researching that data or going to your textbook or looking at some of the videos that I post, interpret and give me your explanation of what that data tells you. Okay, so please, that's what the papers are all about. It's a way of interpreting data and writing it out and explaining to me, or to down the road to other people, what specific statistical data tells you. That's the nature of the papers. So just make sure when you do your work, you explain your thoughts, you explain what I'm asking you thoroughly. Just don't give 1 to 2 paragraph papers. That's going to be not for a good grade. You have to think about it, and you'll see, and we'll talk about this in our Monday video, you'll see what I'll be looking for and how I want you to explain it. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. These papers are posted every Monday, and they will be due the following Sunday. Okay, so that's where we're headed to now, which in some respects is good for the student, especially in an 8-week program. You don't have to worry about doing too much calculating. You just have to do about understanding what the calculating tells you. And we'll discuss that every week in the subsequent weeks in our course. So that's where we're headed. And again, this first paper due is next Sunday, September 18th. All right, well, that's where we are right now. As you can see, we've just completed our 3rd week. We have 2 grades posted. You can get a good idea of where you stand up to this point. 15% of your class grade has been completed. We're now going to be doing a series of papers, which are going to accumulate your cumulative class grade pretty quickly, and that's where we're headed to. So the papers will be on our discussion points of our weekly videos, and videos provided in Blackboard of the information discussed in those subsequent chapters. So we're off to a great start grade-wise. You all are doing very well. Look forward to getting back on the beam again in week number 4 in a couple of days. So thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of the weekend. Adios.